Let's see. Oh. Hmm. Well, first, let me see. Okay, Google, make an announcement.
What's the message?
Guys, it's time to log on to your Spanish class.
Okay, broadcasting now.
I was hoping I was muted, but my computer was going so slowly that I couldn't wait to figure it out. So there's that. Um, let's see. I should be live. Anybody here? I mean, I just cannot tell if this is work. Yeah, now it says I'm live. I wonder how long I've been on here live and silent. I'm sorry,
Anybody here?
guys. I mean, I just cannot tell if this is work. Okay. Well, hi. I see Kay Branch on here live with me. I am
Hello.
just now figuring out all the technology. So if you've been waiting, I never can seem to get on early enough to get all the technology figured out before the very last second or beyond. So I apologize for
Totally
that.
understand. I actually had to go find my access information, which was buried in a lot of things. So
Well,
I'm
and
like,
normally that was the other thing I was doing. Normally I would send out reminders, and I'm trying to think how my reminders didn't get sent out. And I was looking on the thing and it wouldn't let me log in. No, it's not that it wouldn't let me log in. It just I forgot to click log in, so I was just sitting there waiting. But I'm gonna
yeah.
go over here and see how many folks actually registered for today.
Hold on a
Today
second.
is 3 and 4, right?
3 and 4. Yep. So I'm a Challenge 3 director next year, and I have a 4 student next year. So
Okay.
hold on
Did
a
you
second.
did you direct 3 this year?
No. First year directing in Challenge. I was an essentials tutor. I moved from California and wasn't able to direct in California because I had to work as well as homeschool and just could not make it work. So able to do so here. So, and they had a need.
Very cool. When did you move from here? I
Uh,
mean,
we
when did you move here?
we moved here almost a year ago. It's the very beginning of May of last year. So we literally finished our last day of community. We finished community in California, and 3 days later we rolled out of California. So
I gotcha. I gotcha. How long were you in California? Did you grow up there?
oh yeah, lifelong, a whole time.
Okay.
So, big change, but
That
it's been
was
good.
me. That was me in 2020. I grew up. What brought you here?
A lot of different things. We just kind of sum it up as a God thing. It wasn't on our radar until about a year before we moved. Well, actually, not even a year because we were looking elsewhere, but it just all
Gotcha.
aligned for us. So, but mainly we moved here for our boys. I have 2 sons, so
Yep.
California. We worked very hard in California, but it just, as I was saying to someone the other day, I said, you just have to know when to call it. and
Yeah.
so we just hit that point where we're like, I don't think that we can make a change that will be quick enough to be good for our boys. So,
hmm Yep. I feel that. That was me in 2020. I moved here from Chicago, lifelong Chicagoan, and I have 2 boys. I have 2 girls and 2 boys, and I just did not want to raise my kids in the situation we were in. So, I feel that. So, thank you for joining me. We are streaming live and all the things. I think you got all
mhm.
the notifications. Um, So I've been doing all of the levels, and today I'm finishing off with levels with challenge 3 and challenge 4. And if anyone, maybe you haven't, but if anyone has been following me, I needed to get organized and check that out. I got me a bookshelf with all of my like
Fantastic.
This is challenge A and this is challenge B, and in all my 3-tiered things on there. So I am getting it together, you guys. So thank you for your patience with me and all the things. So I'm just gonna run through. First of all, I want to just remind you, in case there's someone watching, I see a couple people on who haven't heard this spiel. I'm Nicole, and I am the product sales specialist for North Georgia. And I like to talk through the products in 3 tiers. So I will tell you, oh, this is a tier 1, this is a tier 2, this is a tier 3. The way that what I mean by that is a tier 1 product is you need this to be doing our curriculum. If you are not, this is not something that you own, you are doing something else, which is you're free to do that. But in this particular strand or in this particular area, you are not doing our curriculum. This is required for you to be doing our curriculum. Tier 2 is you should get this probably because it'll save you a lot of time, but you don't have to get it in order to be doing our curriculum. So the reason I do that is because I say this every day. My mom used to tell me sometimes you got more time than money. And so when you really need to spend time or save time, save money, you might have to create those flashcards yourself or read through that book yourself and make up your own questions, review questions or whatever. So that is really what the tier 2 is. It's a way to save time. It's a book full of questions or a book full of activities or something like that that would really help you with this curriculum. But if you really need to not buy something, this would be the thing that you could probably not buy. And then tier 3 is my recommendation for your homeschool in this area. So I may say, hey, I highly recommend that you use this supplemental product in our program from our bookstore, but it is not required or even recommended in this particular strand. So you'll hear me say, this is tier 1, this is tier 2, this is tier 3, all throughout the presentation. And I wanted you to know that that's what I mean. Okay, so let's get started with challenge 3. Challenge 3 is our equivalent to junior year, what most people would call junior year. And I'm just opening up my catalog. If you haven't gotten the catalog, snag you one. You can order them when you order your books, or you can get one from, you can get one from me at Practicum. You can get one from your AR. You can get one from your SR. You can probably get some from your directors, but they would get them from your AR SR. All right. So challenge 3, I'm on the wrong page. Starting with math. You guys all know that we are using Saxon Math. That's the recommended math for challenge. And directors are contracted to teach or tutor from the Saxon curriculum. I know that a lot of people in our communities use things other than Saxon, but you should plan to come to community on your seminar day with whatever, prepared to talk through the unit that is in Saxon. So for challenge 3, logic, which is our math, it's Saxon Advanced Math textbook, and I think it's the tests. Let me grab it so I can show it to you. Yeah, I probably should move that a little bit closer. But anyway, this is Algebra 2. This is the only one I have. This is actually mine, and then I never opened it. See, because we ended up using something different. But this is the solutions manual, actually, that I haven't showed. This is the textbook. It's hardcover. And this is, there you go. It says homeschool testing book. So this is the homeschool kit. It has a textbook and a test booklet. You can also purchase the solutions manual, which is a very different, it's an additional book. And then if you want, you can also purchase the teaching tape, the tutoring teaching tape for algebra. Well, for you, this is Algebra 2, but for challenge 3, it would be advanced mathematics. Okay. So you're going to want to grab that for your challenge 3 student. For challenge 4, they're also recommending Saxon Advanced Mathematics. It would be the exact same thing for 3 and 4. Just so you know, if you have a challenge 3 or challenge 4 student and you plan on doing the Saxon, if you haven't purchased it yet, you will want to do that now, because we are no longer restocking Saxon in our bookstore. So right now, everything that we have that is Saxon is while supplies last. Once we run out of our Saxon materials, we will not be restocking those. So that means in the coming years, if you have a challenge B 1, 2, 3, or 4 student, they will still be using Saxon, and you will have to go elsewhere, like to another vendor, to purchase any Saxon products. And then, of course, we're rolling in the math map. So by the time your current or a rising challenge A student gets to be a challenge 4 student, they won't need Saxon anymore. So we'll be doing the math map after this. So for math, you want to purchase the Saxon for challenge 3 and for challenge 4. All right. So for research, we're doing exploring creation with chemistry. Let me grab all the books. Let me just put them in here so then I don't have to keep going out and stepping over stuff. So just 1 second. Okay, most of these books are actually mine because I don't actually have samples of all of the Challenge 4 books. So since my child did go through Challenge 4, I just grabbed a bunch of my own books to be able to show you guys. But starting with Challenge 3, Exploring Creation Through Chemistry. Again, it is a textbook. And I know that a lot of people are like, wait, textbooks aren't classical. But this has a classical bent to the way that we teach it, right? We want to make sure that they are discovering classically. So, but we do use a chemistry textbook from Apologia. And so you'll have that plus tests. The tests are in here, but there's also like a test booklet with solutions that you can purchase, or I think everything is in the back of the book. Nope, it's not. The answers aren't in the back of the book. So you're going to want to grab that with the solutions manual. Okay. So that's challenge 3, chemistry. I can tell you what we did for chemistry was we did have a tutor who a group of us paid to walk our students through chemistry. So if you are nervous about chemistry and you don't feel like your daughter or your son can be kind of self-taught and walk through this on their own, you should definitely look for some supplemental help, a tutor who knows Apologia, maybe look for some folks who might do it online or who might host a lab. Our tutor actually did all the labs with them, and then made them write lab reports and then gave them grades. So that's really helpful for us. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the student lab report because the student lab report handbook. I haven't really looked into it in depth. I got it for my daughter and she just kind of had it. And I was like, I never even really looked at it until today. I was like, let me look at this and see exactly what it is. This is basically a textbook on how to write a proper lab report. And this is important because when my daughter was applying to colleges, one of the colleges that she was applying to required a writing sample and a formal lab report from one of the sciences that she took that required labs. So she needed to turn in a formal lab report to the college to prove that she had learned how to do a formal lab report. And this book actually walks you through it step by step. And so I actually sat here today, looked through this book, and put together a schedule for how you might teach this book prior to going into your first science lab class. So maybe freshman year, challenge 1, there's like a 6 or 8 week period of time where you want to focus on how to write a lab report. This is a great textbook, and all you have to do is read it, have them read it, and then come together and discuss it. By the end, they will be turning in a lab report, and this is a really great way for you to be able to supervise and make sure both you and they know how to do a proper lab report. I feel like my computer is glitching. I can't tell if it's me, but I know it's me because I'm the one that's freezing, but I can't tell if I'm freezing or if you're freezing. I'm going to plug it in just to make sure there's enough power. And then hopefully that takes care of that. All right. The Science Lab Journal, again, if you have a lab, This is just graphing paper, so it's not really that deep. But if you're the kind, I mean, it has a cool ruler on the back. And if you're the kind of person who likes all your stuff to match, they probably can use this lab book for more than 1 year. And then you'll have a really nice record of the work that they did. So those two things, the Science Lab Journal and the Student Lab Report Handbook, those are recommended. That's tier 2. It's really kind of a tier 1 in challenge 1. But if you haven't done it and you're at challenge 3 and you're like, oh my goodness, I have never taught them how to do a proper lab report, then this would be a tier 1. But if you've already done it in challenge 1 and challenge 2, then this is like a review. And then when you do your formal lab reports for your chemistry class, you'll want to put them in a journal and keep them, because there are still colleges that want you to prove that you learned the information as a homeschooler. All right, hopefully you can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me, because it feels like I'm glitching. It's like going in and out.
I can hear you. It lags a little bit here and there, but not bad.
Okay, great. All right, so the next thing for challenge 3 is reasoning. I think this is one of my favorite ones. This is Math in Motion. It's a lot of theory and really relating math and music. Music is really nothing but math. It's really amazing how music is math. And so one of the stories I've heard is about a young man who my director's oldest son took this class and suddenly was like, wow, he was never musical before. He was never interested in it before, but he took this class and suddenly was like, oh, wow, I see it now. And now 5-6 years later has a career working with like Michael W. Smith and some of the people who we know who are musically inclined, working with them, doing some of the things that he learned, taking this Math in Motion class. And so this is challenge 3. You're going to want the answer key. So it's 2 books. You're going to want to get the Math in Motion, First Steps in Music Theory, right? And then you're going to want to get the answer key so that they can check themselves or you can check them. Maya mostly checked herself. Also, in addition to Math in Motion, the second semester, you're going to read through the consequences of ideas. This is what that looks like. It's just a regular old book, kind of looks like a novel. The consequences of ideas. And your kids are going to have great classical conversations surrounding the consequences of the various ideas and philosophies that we've seen come through our world over the last 100 years. So that is the consequences of ideas. That is a tier 1. For debate, you're actually going to finally read a history book. I know we've been doing history all these years. Every year we do a timeline. Every year we talk about history. But I think this is the first. We did do like storybook history last year, or challenge 2. But now we have A Patriot's History of the United States. This is the textbook that we use about the history of the United States. It is a little bit biased, but I love the conversations that we had about the bias. I think the curriculum developers decided to keep this book in the curriculum because it does spark a lot of conversation around various controversial subjects in your home, especially at the beginning. But then, the further you get into the book, the more it's just historical facts. And so I really appreciated this book, and it is an audiobook as well. So we had our daughter listen and read at the same time, because it's a lot of reading, and underline and annotate. And I'll give you a quick tip. Just like the Latin book, we actually have this book divided into 3 parts. Some people divide it in half, but we have this book divided into 3 parts and spiral bound, so that she did not have to carry this big book back and forth every year. And so we actually have 3 sections of this book in spiral binding so that she could lay it open, write in it, annotate it, listen, and actually be prepared to go to class with information to have a meaningful conversation. So A Patriot's History of the United States, that's what you guys are going to use all year for debate. Okay. Grammar, you're going to hit the 2nd year and 3rd year Latin textbooks. So you have the 2nd year looks like this, a lot like the first year. Oh, that says fourth year. Oh, I picked up the wrong one. Anyway, and this is the third year. They all look the same. They just have a different, like first, second, third, or fourth year. So you're going to want to do the second and the third year for our grammar strand, which is Latin. And then, of course, we do still use the Latin grammar and the Latin answer key. Once again, if you've heard me the last few days, you've heard my spiel about the answer key. The Henley answer key, I think I can grab it really fast. The Henley answer key is one that some people love and some people just really don't. So this is the grammar book, and that one's going to follow you around all 4 years. It's like having a Strunk & White, but for Latin. And then this is our answer key. Costs about $5. And a lot of people will get this and get a supplementary one. Some people will just get another one. There are some places in here where if you open it up and you want the answer, it'll say something like C number 75 or C introduction. And basically what that's saying is we've taught you how to do this one already. We're not going to give you the answer right here. You're going to go back to the introduction and you're going to look and you're going to figure it out. And I used to get really annoyed with that because I was like, oh my goodness, if I could figure it out, then I wouldn't be looking on this page for the answer. So some people have gone ahead and created a full answer key for Henley, and you can find those in various places. We don't carry them. This one it turned out to be fully sufficient for me because after I figured out that that's what they were saying, I really also just figured out I could just skip those because there's plenty of practice. So if I just say, okay, just do the odd ones or do the even ones or do all the ones that have answers in the answer key, that worked out fine for me. So, but you may want to check out like Seton, I think Latin with Andy or Jam with Latin, all have answer keys for Henley, and that's helpful. Let's see. Of course, our trivium tables, our Latin trivium tables, those are, I would say those are tier 2, maybe 3. If you have a visual learner, it's like a high tier 2. If you're a person whose kid loves to just see the whole rubric and they can relate these things to one another and that helps them to make connections, then you definitely want to invest in our trivium tables. They are spectacular. They are put together well, and they do help give you a picture in your mind of both where you're going and what you're studying. So we do have a Latin trivium table. I have all the trivium tables over there, but they are all under a bunch of books. So the Latin trivium table is perfect for this strand if you have a visual learner or if you just want something that is a quick reference for various rules, like things that are in the grammar book, like declensions and conjugations and things like that. I highly recommend our trivium tables. Of course, at this point, you've been through 3 different Latin books. Okay, you're going through your 3rd Latin book this year. And that means that not all the vocabulary that you'll be working with is in the glossary of that book. And so you may, at this point, want to invest in the Latin English dictionary that we have. Here it is right here. Okay. So the Latin English dictionary, I would say this is the tier 3. You don't really need this one, especially if you have all the Latin books so far. You have glossaries in the back, so you don't need to worry about not being able to find a word. But if you would like something that's pretty, it's a nice book, and it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It's all in one place. What's that word? It's like compact or something, but that's not it. Anyway, all of the books. Say it again.
Comprehensive. Uh-oh, you may have frozen.
Oh, I missed what it.
Sorry.
So I think there's some kind of a lag, so I keep only catching part of what you're saying.
Okay, can you hear me at the moment? Okay, we'll just move on. Sorry. I was saying.
Okay, now I can hear you.
I was saying comprehensive.
Yes, thank you. That's the word. Comprehensive. Took me a second to be able to hear you. Sorry about my internet. I'm not sure what's going on. I guess my kids must be using it too. But anyway, it's all comprehensive. It's all in here. So this is a nice, but I would say this is a tier 3. You don't actually need this to be doing our curriculum. And it just saves you a little bit of time not having to look in the different glossaries and stuff like that. All right. So that's Latin. For exposition, we've got some yummy books. Oh, yummy books. We have, let's see, do I have them here? We have Brightest Heaven of Invention, The Roar on the Other Side. And then, of course, we're doing Much Ado About Nothing, Julius Caesar, Macbeth, Henry V, and Hamlet. I don't think that the bookstore sent me any of these books. So I'm going to show you what we have. Oh, here's the second year Latin. This one's mine. I need to put this is the second year Latin. I must leave my little tag on there. And then this is the second year answer key. I was trying to sell it, but I'm going to keep it now. All right. And then we have the consequences of ideas. Here is the Brightest Heaven of Invention. Okay, it's a little, my daughter did use it. She annotates books, so I won't really open it. And then this is The Roar on the Other Side. Both of these books are tier 1 books, Brightest Heaven of Invention and The Roar on the Other Side. Those are tier 1 books for challenge 3. Your student will be reading through those. And then I went ahead and purchased the Dover Thrift editions from the bookstore of most, if not all, of the reading books for challenge 3 and challenge 4. So I have Beowulf. I have another version of Beowulf that I found like at a half price store. That's from the other class. Let me get to the right ones. So I have, that's challenge 4. What did I just say? Henry V. This one is in our bookstore. It's beautiful. I love that cover. And we have Macbeth and Julius Caesar. So here's Julius Caesar. It's a nice little thick, really handsomely covered book. Let's see what else. Hamlet, Macbeth, and Much Ado About Nothing. I have all of those somewhere. Yeah, I have all of those somewhere. I think I only pulled the challenge 4 books from my shelf. All right. So those all are books that you can really get anywhere if you think about it. Macbeth is, all the Shakespeare books are totally accessible anywhere. We do have Tales from Shakespeare. That one is not required, but I do recommend it. That would be like a tier 2. But you are going to want to purchase Brightest Heaven of Invention, Roar on the Other Side, Much Ado About Nothing, Julius Caesar, Macbeth, Henry V, and Hamlet. If your child does not annotate books, then you can check them out of the library. My daughter annotates books, so I just went and purchased them all, and I still have them. And my other child and my other children, depending on how well they treat these books, will just be reading one another's annotations, and that is fine with me. Okay, so that is pretty much it for challenge 3. If you have any questions, I am watching on Facebook, and I am also, of course, on Zoom. So I'm going to pause for a minute and see if you have any questions about the challenge 3 materials. Okay. So for challenge 4, again, Saxon. I already showed you the Saxon. You are still using Advanced Mathematics, and that's the 2nd edition. So you get the homeschool packet with the textbook and the tests. And then, of course, you can purchase the solutions manual and the DVD separately. They also move into Saxon Calculus, but of course, that is optional. It depends on how far your student is going in math. But in challenge 4, they are going to be touching on calculus in the 2nd semester. That would be tier 1 if those are the 4 maths that you're doing. If you're doing like the typical algebra 1 geometry, algebra 2, and then advanced mathematics, then those, you need the advanced mathematics books. If you are combining any of those and you're going to do calculus for their senior year, then of course the calculus book would be a tier 1 book. The math trivium tables and whiteboards, if your student has liked using those, go ahead and get those or keep those. Those are really great for tactile reinforcement and, again, for visual learners. For research, This is again, they didn't really send me any challenge for books, and my daughter did not do the physics, but in class, Saxon physics is what's required for challenge 4. So you get to decide how you're going to manage that. I think if you are going to be in class, physics is required for you need to be prepared to discuss the physics for the Saxon physics in seminar on community day. And then of course everyone is I can just tell you that my community was very unique in that I think half the class did not do physics, and so the director just put physics at the end of the day, and the people who were staying for physics, they did physics, and everyone else kind of got to leave a little bit early. um, and we ended up doing like marine biology or something to fulfill our 4th year of science, so that was interesting. All right, reasoning. Invitation to the Psalms and Mere Christianity. I think this is new. I feel like Invitation to the Psalms previously was a parent prep book. Last year in Challenge 4, Mere Christianity was the entire year. And our community being unique as it was, actual semester. I am frozen. I'm going to see. Hmm. Come on, Lord. Why does this have to happen? So I'm looking to see if maybe I just have stuff running in the background because I froze for a long time. Need to close all these windows apparently. I'm scared to click because what if I click and then it pretends like it didn't actually register, and then when I click again, it closes the wrong thing, right? Has that happened to y'all? Okay, I think I'm back in action. Okay, I think I just needed to close something that I don't know what it was, but I just closed everything and therefore it worked. Whatever was running in the background, causing all kinds of problems. So, what I was saying, what was I saying? I don't even remember.
We're talking about the
In
invitation.
we were unique. Yes. So the Invitation to the Psalms, I think, was a parent prep book prior, and now it is. I think I don't know what's going on in Challenge 4 this year, and maybe it's not new, but I know that last year when my daughter was in Challenge 4, Mere Christianity was the only book because prior to that, we would read a Ravi Zacharias book. So Ravi Zacharias's book has been removed from our book list, and we went through a couple of years where we just read Mere Christianity for the entire year. So our community, again, kind of unique. We read Mere Christianity for the first semester, and then we read Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus for the second semester, which is a spectacular book. I really think that CC should put it on their list. But this year, it looks like what they're doing is Invitation to the Psalms and then Mere Christianity, and that is our reading strand. So Invitation to the Psalms, I don't have it because I didn't have to do it, but I do have Mere Christianity. Nope, that's the Abolition of Man. Same author, and the book looks a little bit like this, but it's called Mere Christianity. So you're going to want to grab that. It is a tier 1 book for Challenge 4, and the Invitation to the Psalms as well. The Discoverers, I really think all of my Challenge 4 students despised this book. I'm not exactly sure why, but they said it was like the most boring history book on the planet. I happen to disagree, but I wasn't in this classroom to help them see all the wonders of this book. But this is the debate book for senior for Challenge 4, The Discoverers. It's a little ratty because, again, I don't have any sample books for Challenge 4. These are just mine. So highly recommend that, and a really good note-taking strategy. For grammar, you're going to hit year 4. So we have first year, second year. You're going to hit year 4 for your Latin Henley book. Oh my gosh, I have everything, but here we go. 4th year. Looks just like the other ones. It just says 4th year here in the little black rectangle. So that is what you'll be covering in Challenge 4. You also will want the Latin key. Now, interestingly enough, the Latin keys are different. I just discovered this today, that the Latin keys do say second. The answer keys say first, second. Oh no, I knew that. The answer keys are different. The grammar book is what follows you all the way through. The grammar book is like a Strunk and White book that's all about all of the rules and declension methodologies and all that stuff. So that one follows you all the way through. The answer key and the textbook, you're going to want to get one for Challenge 4. It's Henley 4th year Latin text and the 4th year answer key. And again, a grammar book, but the grammar follows you all the way through. The dictionary and the Latin trivium tables are tier high 3, low 2, unless you have a really visual learner. Then again, I highly recommend our trivium tables. They're really, really spectacular. All right, and then exposition. I just feel like this particular strand is like the, I don't know, capstone of Challenge 4, and maybe even the entire challenge program. We get to read all of these classics. And so Theogony, Works and Days. I have a bunch of stuff from all over, but we have the Iliad, the Aeneid. Here's the Aeneid. It looks like this. This is Challenge 4, the Aeneid. These are hard reads. And so you really want to have like someone who will, you got to make time. They got to sit with this. They have to read some of the supporting documents and support and things like that, so that they can really understand and kind of translate and really understand why these are classics, what was going on at the time, why is this such a classic and such a great story, especially like the Odyssey. Let's see, do I have the Odyssey? I have Pilgrim's Progress here. I have Paradise Lost, Walden, Life in the Woods, Favorite Brother. All of these are books that we read in Challenge. Oedipus Rex. Oedipus Rex is a Challenge 4 book. It's really thin, but it's a classic and it's really great. That's a really great one. Gulliver's Travels. I think that's Challenge 2, I feel like. But we have that one. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I think that's Challenge 2. So I am showing y'all. Robinson Crusoe. So Selected Canterbury Tales. These are all books that I just grabbed off the shelf because I wanted you guys to see that we got all these wonderful books. They match. You know, I like matchy stuff on my shelf. But for Challenge 4, you're reading the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, Oedipus Rex, and Heroes of the City of Man. All of those books I have on my shelf. But I guess I didn't bring all of them over after all. But those are all tier 1. So those are the books. That is all you need. There is no curriculum that you need to purchase, like the Lost Tools of Writing or anything like that for the exposition strand. You need Theogony, the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, Oedipus Rex, and Heroes of the City of Man. Those 6 books are what you will actually be reading and evaluating. You'll be doing some memorizing, so you can do some memoria and then presentation. So you're going to be doing those things in Challenge 4. Sometimes they partner up and they memorize whole sections. of some very difficult things that need to be interpreted, right? So, if you're speaking in Old English or in English that was translated from Greek or something like that, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And that is the point. They get to actually interpret and then express their interpretations through presentation. So those are the books you need for exposition. And I think that's it for challenge 4. Challenge 4 is, I think, you're probably most hands off, unless you're the director, most hands off year. You're going to be asking a lot of questions, doing a lot of conversations. And then, of course, they're writing their thesis. So that's a really big deal. A lot of stress if you don't do it according to the calendar. Don't ask me how I know. But that is pretty much it for the challenge 4 products. And a lot of it does overlap. Like I said, the math overlaps and the Latin overlaps a little bit. You're going to use the same grammar and stuff like that. But other than that, you just need those books for each of the strands. So I think that's it for our overview of challenge 3 and 4 products. I'm going to do this whole thing again next week. And now that I've done it one time, I think I have some ideas of how to make this a little bit smoother. So pass the word. Let everybody know next week. We're going to do it backwards. We're going to start with 3 and 4. We're going to do on Tuesday. We're going to do 1 and 2 on Wednesday, and then A and B on Thursday, and then Scribblers, Foundations, and Essentials on Friday. And instead of 3 p.m., it'll be 8 a.m. So those of you who are like, I can never do 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I work, or I have this, or I have that. I switched it up where you could do 8 a.m. and we'll be done by 8:45. So you can make your shopping cart list and then wait for, you should also get, if you have already enrolled, you should get your $30 bookstore credit. Today is the 15th. So today is the deadline for if you want to get a $30 bookstore credit as an enrollment incentive. If you enroll your students and pay in full, not the tuition part, but pay the application and enrollment fee by today, then you will be receiving in your email a bookstore credit for $30, and you can apply it to whatever you want, which is really cool. And then, of course, if you are attending any of the Math Map events, you can play around with some of those codes and see which ones stack and which ones don't. I'm not exactly sure anymore how we've gone back and forth on whether or not this can stack with that and what can stack with what. So I'm going to just give you all the codes that you can qualify for, and you can play around with it in the bookstore and try and get the best bang for your buck. So that is it for me. If you have any questions, I will stay on for just a minute if you have questions. Otherwise, I will see you when I see you. All right. I'm going to disconnect.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
So